Today, India is one of the leading countries in protected cultivation of vegetable crops and cut flowers spread across the country in more than 25 states. Protected cultivation is one of the highly remunerative enterprises for the farmers since it gives higher yield, better quality produce and higher net income. The ICAR, Indian Institute of Horticultural Research, Bengaluru, being the premier research institute in the field of horticulture in India, has developed a large number of varieties and technologies in different horticultural crops. ICAR-IIHR has developed a holistic and integrated pest management package in protected cultivation of vegetable crops, refined and spread this technology among larger number of farmers across the country. Additionally, supporting programs of the Department of Horticulture and Agriculture is also helping farmers to extensively adopt protected cultivation. Karnataka is one of the leading states in protected cultivation since the beginning of 2000. Currently, the state has more than 1,500 acres under protected cultivation with multiple crops spread across 20 districts of the state. Many vegetable crops are being cultivated in polyhouse such as capsicum, tomato, European or English cucumber, broccoli, lettuce, French beans, etc. by the farmers. Among these crops, capsicum, tomato and European cucumber are cultivated in more than 75% of the area under protected cultivation of vegetables in the country. Farmers are reaping multiple benefits from the polyhouse cultivation of vegetable crops. However, they are still facing difficulties in the management of pests and diseases. Among these, thrips, mites, powdery mildew, downy mildew, viruses, nematodes and bacterial leaf spots are the major pests and diseases. For effective management of these problems, integrated pest and disease management, generally referred as IPM, is a very good holistic strategy that the farmers can adopt to manage pests and diseases effectively, economically, and safely in polyhouses. Indiscriminate use of pesticides by many polyhouse farmers results in the development of resistance by pests and diseases to many of the insecticide and fungicides. It will also lead to pesticide residue problem in the final produce, which can be avoided by adopting IPM technology. IPM package consists of good agricultural practices like application of botanicals, biopesticides and biocontrol agents such as parasites and predators, use of vegetable grafted plants with rootstocks resistant to soil-borne diseases, nematodes, bacterial wilt and Phytophthora in capsicum and tomato, as well as Fusarium wilt in English cucumber. This could be supplemented with the application of chemical pesticides to control pests and diseases if inevitable.
In protected cultivation of vegetable crops, one of the important component is integrated pest management.
Integrated pest management or IPM is a holistic strategy which starts from field preparation, sowing of seeds or planting of seedlings and continues till the final harvesting of crop. Integrated pest management is one of the essential and critical components of integrated crop management in the protected cultivation of vegetables.
The integrated crop management aspects consist of use of organic as well as inorganic source of nutrients. So we should apply copious amount of farmyard manure or any other kind of compost, vermicompost, neem cake, fertilizers, fertigations, biofertilizers as a source of nutrients, so that the crop will get the good stability and resistance to face the pest and disease and eventually reduction in the use of harmful pesticides. The judicious water management is very important to manage the soil-borne diseases.
Soil fertility also plays a critical role. Soil fertility needs to be maintained in polyhouse through integrated nutrient management, including crop rotation with leguminous green manuring crops like sun hemp and Mucuna pruriens and other crops. Mucuna crop is proven to be having higher nematicidal properties, which is being demonstrated intensively in many farmers' fields. Marigold is also a viable option as a rotation crop in polyhouses for reducing nematode inoculum in the soil.
Grafting is another technology which can be used for managing the soil-borne diseases, which is now a developing enterprise. All these things will help in enriching the soil and also fight against the soil-borne pathogen for the main crops in polyhouse like tomato, English cucumber and capsicums.
Enrichment of neem cake, vermicompost and FYM is done with biopesticides and bionematicides such as Trichoderma harzianum, Pseudomonas fluorescens, Pasilomyces lilacines and Peconia chlamydosporia. The enriched manure applied on the bed or soil adds beneficial microbial population to the soil and enhances the soil resilience against the attack of soil-borne nematodes and diseases.
Plant parasitic nematodes are causing serious problems under the protected cultivation. The symptoms of these nematodes inside the polyhouses can be diagnosed by the stunted growth in patches, the yellowing of the leaves, typical root knot galls, poor growth. This will ultimately lead to serious yield losses from 60 to 70% inside the polyhouses. Hence, ICAR-IAHR has developed integrated nematode management packages for management of these nematodes in an eco-friendly manner in vegetables grown under the polyhouse conditions. Integrated nematode management packages involves the clean cultivation of both the soil as well as the crop. First, the soil fertility has to be enhanced by growing leguminous crops like mucuna and nematode non-host crops like marigold. Both this mucuna and marigold are proven to have high nematicidal properties in their root exudates, and so this will reduce the nematode inoculum before growing the main crops like tomato or cucumber inside the polyhouses.
When biopesticides are applied directly to the soil or through enrichment of FYM, neem cake or other organic manures, they induce the internal production of plant growth promoting substances and provides systemic resistance in crops against pathogens.
The biopesticides are Trichoderma harzianum, Pseudomonas fluorescens, Bacillus subtilis, and bionematicides, especially Peconia chlamydosporia or Pasilomyces lilacines. These biopesticides have to be enriched in farmyard manure or neem cake for a period of 2 to 3 weeks under shade. These enriched biopesticides have to be applied to the topsoil in the beds. And in the standing crop also, these biopesticides enriched neem cake can be applied as such in the root zone, or it can be mixed with water and the suspension can be drenched in the soil around the root zone. Even the suspension can be prepared with Jivamrita or Panchagavya, and it has to be regularly applied to the crop throughout the crop duration.
IIHR ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯವರು ನಮಗೆ ಟ್ರೈಕೋಡರ್ಮ, ಸೂಡೋಮೋನಾಸು, ಬೇವಿನ ಹಿಂಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ವರ್ಮಿ ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟು ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನು ಬೆಡ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿಂದ ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ರ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಸಿ ನಾಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗಿನಿಂದ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಥರ ನಾವು ಪಾಲನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ನೆಮ್ಟೋಡ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ರೋಗನೂ ನಮಗೆ ಇದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮಗೆ ಈಗ ಗಿಡಗಳೂ ಆರೋಗ್ಯಕರವಾಗಿದೆ, ಇಳುವರಿನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದೆ.
ಭೂಮಿಗೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕೋ ಟ್ರೈಕೋಡರ್ಮ, ಸೂಡೋಮೋನಾಸು, ಬೇವಿನ ಹಿಂಡಿ, ಎರೆಹುಳ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಗಿಡಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಿಮಿಟೋಡು ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ಗೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ.
Raise the seedlings in pro trays with Arca fermented cocopeat as medium for seedlings, which is enriched with Arca microbial consortium or AMC.
ಅರ್ಕಾ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಬಿಯಲ್ ಕನ್ಸೋರ್ಷಿಯಂ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಕೋಕೋಪಿಟ್ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮೊಳಕೆ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಉತ್ತಮ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನರ್ಸರಿವರೆಗೂ ಸಹ ಬೀಜ ನಷ್ಟ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಸಸಿಗಳು ಸಾಯೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದನಾ ವೆಚ್ಚ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಲಾಭ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗುತ್ತೆ.
The plant growth promoting beneficial microbes in AMC helps to mobilize nutrients and provides better immunity to the plants and helps in better root growth and development. Before planting of seedlings, cover the soil with 40 micron plastic mulching sheet, which helps to prevent weed growth, to conserve soil moisture and to prevent loss of nitrogenous nutrients. Plant the good quality, healthy, and vigorous seedlings on raised beds of 1 feet height. Drench the seedlings with one fungicide like Captan or copper oxychloride at 2 grams per liter to prevent the mortality of seedlings which occurs due to damping off of seedlings. Within 3 to 4 days after planting, spray the plants with 1.5 milliliter per liter of Vidi Green Path to manage mites and trips on the seedlings, and drench them with Vicky Roots solution at 1.5 gram per liter to rejuvenate the soil with beneficial microorganisms and to stimulate crop growth as well as the root system for better nutrient uptake, root development and disease tolerance. Many pests and diseases start infecting the crop immediately after planting. In order to prevent the multiplication of these pests and diseases, spraying of safe and essential insecticides and fungicides should be undertaken at an early stage. Thrips and mites are the common major pests in all 3 crops. Powdery mildew in capsicum and tomato, downy mildew in cucumber are the major diseases which damages the polyhouse crop up to 60%. South American tomato moth, which is also called Tuta absoluta, and powdery mildew are the important pests and diseases of tomato crop in protected cultivation.
IHR has some botanical formulations like neem soap, pongamia soap. They have been used from the starting stage of the crop, and the major purpose of recommending these botanicals is to avoid any residues in the end product, that is the harvested crop, and also for minimizing the development of insecticide resistance, which is a common thing when you are using synthetic chemicals. We are also using some of the bioagents like anthocorid bugs for the management of thrips, as well as predatory mites for the management of mites in capsicum. All these in integrated fashion, when you are using them, we are able to control different pests on capsicum crop. Synthetic chemicals not only resulting in residues, it also results in the problem of resistance in due course if you are using the same chemical repeatedly. Along with this, IHR has come out with neem seed pellets formulation. By using only this neem seed pellets, we can grow the crop without use of any synthetic pesticides. When you are using this neem seed pellets at the rate of 30 grams per liter, they have to be applied at an interval of 7 days, which will result in the minimum incidence of pests like DBM and aphids. Neem soap is one of the best alternate for the management of this diamondback moth and cabbage, and also it results in the residue-free produce.
Integrated disease management schedule comprises of different components. The very first component is seed treatment or biopriming with bioagents. This bioprimed seed should be sown or raised in nursery with insect-proof nylon net under protected structure. While applying FOM or neem cake or pongamia cake, it should be enriched with bioagents like Trichoderma, Pseudomonas and Bacillomyces. After transplanting healthy seedling, protective drenching with fungicide has to be followed. Under protected cultivation, sanitary measures like placing foot mat impregnated with disinfectant at the entrance of the polyhouse, then removal and burning of infected plant material, infected leaves and fruits so as to prevent spread of diseases. So when disease appears in polyhouse, we need to give protective and systemic fungicide spray. If farmers follow this integrated disease management schedule, they can harvest good produce of high quality and which is also residue free.
Within 1 month after planting, releasing of biocontrol agents developed by ICAR NBAIR is undertaken to suppress the multiplication of thrips and mites and to reduce spraying of chemical pesticides.
Here we have used Blaptocetus paliscens, which is an anthocorid bug, as a component of IPM to manage thrips pest. When we release Blaptocetus paliscens, it immediately searches, and whenever it finds thrips, it feeds on that and kill them. And here we have recommended 20 adults per meter square. To get better results, releases has to be made twice in a week. Total 4 to 6 releases are required to get better results. We have observed after using this predator, thrips population has been reduced, and number of sprays as well as the cost of production has reduced drastically. This is eco-friendly approach, and it can be used as one of the component of IPM to manage thrips in the polyhouse crops.
Here we are conducting the IPM in the capsicum, especially for the management of thrips and this powdery mildew and downy mildew diseases. So I am using here the Bacillus albus strain, produce a lot of secondary metabolites, lipopeptide, phospholipase and some other toxic metabolites which is effective for the management of thrips. This strain also produce some plant growth hormones. We are also using the Trichoderma asperillum, which NBAR TATP strain, and this Trichoderma very effective potential antagonistic activity, especially for the downy mildew and powdery mildew management. It also produces some chitinase and glucanase and some other enzymes for the suppression of the pathogen activity. The major advantage is the cost of production is very less. 1 kg is less than 200 rupees, and environmentally it's very safe. Chemical residue was very well reduced. So these are all some advantage using this biopesticide in the IPM practices.
After the crops are grown, that is after 3 weeks to 1 month of planting, spray the crops with botanical pesticides of ICAR, IIHR like Arca neem soap and Arca pongamia soap as prophylactic measures and to prevent the multiplication of pests in the polyhouse. Some of the useful practices that the farmers are using as part of the IPM package includes drenching of Jivamruta with biopesticides like Trichoderma, Pseudomonas, Peconia and AMC, spraying of Panchagavya, drenching of vermi wash solution, seaweed extracts like Sagarika to build the immunity in plants against viruses, and regular applications of micronutrients like Arca Vegetable Special to maintain continuous flowering and to improve the quality of fruits in capsicum, tomato and European cucumber. Practices like high pressure water spray is also a very useful one to dislodge the thrips, and spraying of botanical oils like neem and pongamia oils will reduce the population of whitefly, thrips and mites in the polyhouse. Another important objective of the IPM package is to ensure the safety of plants, groundwater, soil, environment, animals and humans, particularly farmers, laborers and consumers. To ensure safety, the safety kit includes face shield, goggles, gloves, PPE suits were promoted among the polyhouse farmers to avoid harmful effects of chemicals and other operations taken up in the protected environment. Under the NHM project, the IPM package was demonstrated for the past 2 years in polyhouses of 32 farmers in 16 selected districts of Karnataka state. The farmers were equipped with the required knowledge and skill of IPM package through many trainings and other capacity building programs, including individual advisory services through phone calls, on-farm diagnosis and advisory, WhatsApp calls, video capsules, audio messages and other specific literature on crop production and technology.
Under the aegis of Karnataka State Horticulture Mission, we have taken up the demonstration of integrated pest management in tomato, English cucumber and capsicum. In this IPM package, all the good agriculture practices and the integrated approach in management of the pests and diseases have been covered, starting from selection of soil, selection of the land, selection of good varieties, particularly which are resistant to the pest and diseases, and effective use of physical, cultural, mechanical, chemical and all the other biocontrol products and agents. All these 4 or 5 practices are integrated to see that the pest and disease are effectively managed with the prophylactic management.
By adopting the IPM packages, the farmers have successfully cultivated vegetable crops which resulted in increased application of botanicals, biopesticides and biocontrol agents by more than 60% of farmers and reduced the use of chemical pesticides by 35 to 40%. Demonstration of the IPM package also resulted in increased quality produce reflected in better grades, good shelf life and free from pesticide residue in all 3 demonstrated crops such as capsicum, tomato and cucumber. Additionally, our technological interventions for nematode management have reduced nematode population ranging from 28 to 86% and increased net income of polyhouse vegetable farmers by more than 40 to 55%.
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊದಲು ನಾವು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಕುಕುಂಬರ್ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಆಗ ನಾವು ರಾಸಾಯನಿಕ ಗೊಬ್ಬರಗಳು ಮಾತ್ರ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಭೂಮಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಖರ್ಚೆಲ್ಲ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. 1.5 2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲೂ ಗಿಡದ ಆಯುಸ್ಸು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ನೆಮ್ಟೋಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ಇಳುವರಿನೂ ಸಹ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. IIHR ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಗ್ರ ಬೆಳೆ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆಯೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಇಳುವರಿ ಮತ್ತು ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟದ ಬೆಳೆ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಬೆಳೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸಿಕಮ್ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ವಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 59 ಟನ್ ಆಯಿತು. ನಮಗೆ 19 ಲಕ್ಷ ಹಣನೂ ಸಿಕ್ತು. ಮತ್ತು ಎರಡನೇ ಬೆಳೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಕುಕುಂಬರ್ ಬೆಳೆದ್ವಿ. ಈಗ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಾಗಿದೆ ನಾಟಿ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಸುಮಾರು 15 ಟನ್ನು ಫಸಲು ಕೊಯ್ಲು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇನ್ನೂ ಸುಮಾರು ಒಂದು 35ರಿಂದ 40 ಟನ್ನು ಬರಬಹುದಾದ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆಗ ಸುಮಾರು ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು 35ರಿಂದ 40 ಟನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಎಕರೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಇಳುವರಿ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಈಗ 55ರಿಂದ 60 ಟನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ.
ಇವಾಗ ಟೊಮೆಟೊ AHR IPM ಸ್ಕೀಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀಮ್ ಕೇಕು ಮತ್ತು ವರ್ಮಿ ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆ ಬಯೋಪೆಸ್ಟಿಸೈಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಬೆಡ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸಸಿ ನಾಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ 10 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಜೀವಾಮೃತ ಜೊತೆ ಬಯೋಪೆಸ್ಟಿಸೈಡ್ಸ್ನ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಗಿಡಕ್ಕೆ ಡ್ರೆಂಚಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ವಿ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಮಣ್ಣಿಂದು ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಮತ್ತು ಗಿಡನೂ ಹೆಲ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಕೀಟಗಳ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಕಿ ಟ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಮತ್ತು ಬ್ಲೂ. ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಥ್ರಿಪ್ಸು ಥರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. ಟೂಟ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಪ್ ಹಾಕಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಫುಲ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಕಡಿಮೆ ತೊಗೊತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದರಿಂದ ಖರ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಹಣ್ಣು ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವುದೂ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಗಿಡದ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ಲು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ 10 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ವಿ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗಿ ಗಿಡದದು ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ಕಾಯಿ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಹಂತದಲ್ಲೂ ನಮಗೆ IHR ಇಂದ ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಅದೇ ಥರ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಮತ್ತು ಬಯೋಪೆಸ್ಟಿಸೈಡ್ಸು, ವರ್ಮಿ ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟ್, ನೀಮ್ ಕೇಕ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸಾಯಿಲು ನಮಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ತು ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಗಿಡದ್ದು ಹೆಲ್ತು ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸರ್ IPM ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ಲು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ 30ರಿಂದ 40% ವೆಚ್ಚ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಗಿಡ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ.
ಬೇಸಲ್ ಡೋಸಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಟ್ರೈಕೋಡರ್ಮಾ, ಸೂಡೋಮೋನಾಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದರು ಅದು ನೀಮ್ ಕೇಕ್ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಮಿ ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನನಗೆ ಬೆಡ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು. ಹಾಕಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾನು ಏನು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಂಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೆಮೋಟಾಡ್ಸಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಗಿಡನೂ ನನಗೆ ಸಾಯಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಂತೂ ನನಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಥ್ರಿಪ್ಸಿಂದ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ನೀಮ್ ಸೋಪು ಅವರು ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು. ನನಗೆ ಥ್ರಿಪ್ಸು ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಏನು ವೈರಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನನಗೆ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ನನ್ನದು ಇದು ಒಂದು 50% ತನಕ ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪ್ರೇಸು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅದು ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಗೈಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಆ ಗೈಡೆನ್ಸಿಂದ ನಾನು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅಂತೂ ಭಾಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ಲಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ನನಗೆ ಉಳಿತಾಯನೂ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅದು IHR ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ಏನು IPM ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಭಾಳ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಉತ್ತಮವಾದ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಅದು
IHR ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಒಂದು IPM ಸ್ಕೀಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಕುಕುಂಬರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಬಯೋಪೆಸ್ಟಿಸೈಡ್ಸು ಮತ್ತು ಟ್ರೈಕೋಡರ್ಮಾ, ಸೂಡೋಮೋನಾಸು, ಪೆಸಿಲೋಮೈಸಿಸು ಮತ್ತು ನೀಮ್ ಕೇಕು ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು 40 ಟನ್ನು ಇಳುವರಿ ತೆಗೆದಿದ್ವಿ. ಒಂದು 12 ಲಕ್ಷ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಲಾಭ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 1.5 ಲಕ್ಷ 2 ಲಕ್ಷ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು 10 ಲಕ್ಷ ನಮ್ಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಉಳಿದಿತ್ತು ಸರ್. ಪಂಚಗವ್ಯ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀವಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದನ್ನೇನೈತೆ ಟ್ರೈಕೋಡರ್ಮಾ ಸೂಡೋಮೋನಾಸ್ ಪೆಸಿಲೋಮೈಸಿಸ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀವಿ. ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಜೀವಾಮೃತಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ನ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಒಂದು 60% ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನೀಮ್ ಸೋಪು ಮತ್ತು ಪೊಂಗಾಮಿಯ ಸೋಪ್ನ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ 40% ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಮಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಬಂದೈತೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಬೆಳೆದ ಲೈಫು ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು, ಮತ್ತು ಇಳುವರಿನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗೈತೆ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆದಾಯನೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ.
2 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದೀಚೆಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಭಾರತೀಯ ತೋಟಗಾರಿಕಾ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯವರು ಒಂದು IPM ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನು ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಗಿಡ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಜೀವಾಮೃತ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಡ್ರಂಚಿಂಗು, AMC ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಿ. ತಿರ್ಗಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ IHRದೇ ಬೇವಿನ ಸೋಪ್ ಇದೆ, ಆ ಸೋಪ್ನ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಪಂಬೇಮಿಯ ಸೋಪು, ನೀಮ್ ಸೋಪು ಇವನ್ನ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರಾಗಿ 15 ದಿವಸಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಸತಿ ಗಿಡ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ನೆನೆಯಂಗೆ ಹೊಡೆದಾಗ ಟ್ರಿಪ್ಸು ಮೊಟ್ಟೆ ಉಳಿಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಗಿಡದಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ 15 ದಿವಸ ಗ್ಯಾಪಲ್ಲಿ ಔಷಧಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ 50% ಖರ್ಚು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಮಗೆ ಹೂವು ಪಿಂದೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಮತ್ತು ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಫ್ರೂಟು ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಫ್ಲವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ತೋಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಿಪ್ಸು ಅವಳಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪರತಂತ್ರ ಜೀವಿಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಟ್ರಿಪ್ಸ್ ತಿನ್ನೋ ಅಂಥ ಒಂದು ಜೀವಿಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದೂ ನಮಗೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹೋದ ವರ್ಷ ನಮಗೆ ಈಗ ಇದು 1 ಎಕರೆ 5 ಗುಂಟೆ ಇದೆ, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು 60 ಟನ್ನು ಕಲರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸಿಕಮ್ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು, ಒಂದು 8 ಟನ್ನು ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸಿಕಮ್ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. ಸಮಗ್ರ ಪೀಡೆ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಾಗಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ 90% ನಮಗೆ A ಗ್ರೇಡೇ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಇಳುವರಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರ ತೋಟಕ್ಕಿಂತ 10 ಟನ್ನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ತೆಗೆದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. 4 ಲಕ್ಷ 5 ಲಕ್ಷ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಬೋನಸ್ ಬಂದಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ.
To celebrate the success of the demonstrations, many field days were organized in the farmers' fields with the participation of a large number of farmers, officers of Horticulture Department, members of FPOs, private companies along with the scientists of ICAR institutes, which facilitated the spread of the IPM technology among polyhouse vegetable growers. IPM technology is a very useful package for polyhouse farmers, which needs to be adopted by all the farmers across the country. If the IPM package is integrated with the development programs of horticulture and agriculture departments, it will largely benefit the farmers across the length and breadth of the country.